Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 93 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode is the quarter-final of the Europa League. We take on Ajax over 2 legs, and we've also got a domestic recap as well as a new first choice goalkeeper here at Volsungur for when this European season does end once we do get knocked out of the Europa League. So if you're looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we are going to start off today by just doing a little bit of a recap on our Dieldabikar campaign since the end of yesterday's episode. If you did miss that one, the second knockout round against Bayer Leverkusen, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. But we have made our way through to the semi-finals of the Dieldabikar. In fact, that's just what we have played, and we are in the final that is coming up off the back of these Europa League games against Ajax. It actually worked out quite nicely, having a little bit of a break off the back of the semi-final leading in to these Europa League games that we can focus on. And then we have 2 trophy games right off the back of this, the Super Cup against HK and the Dieldabikar final, the League Cup final against Keflavik. We topped our group, winning all of our games thanks to a 2-0 win over Hafnarfjordur and a 4-1 win over Cordringa. Some of these games did get postponed a little bit. That's why the gap's not ideal in terms of keeping players quite as fresh as we would like, especially for the second 11, but we still managed to pick up a very, very comfortable win in the semi-final at home against Ajax. They did get a red card in the first half, and we really did kick on from there, picking up a 6-1 win. That was the first team, and they are going to back up for this game against Ajax, and we've got a week gap in between those games as well. So our first choice players should be nicely freshened and ready to participate in both legs, provided that we do not suffer any injuries or suspensions. But we have made one big signing since yesterday's episode. We have found a replacement at the end of this European season for Mikel Serafellini, and that is this man, Peter Husavik. He comes to us having recently spent time at Mulder, in fact his entire career to date at the Norwegian side. 23 years old, only has 3.5-star potential and ability at the moment, but still looks like a good upgrade on Serafellini. He is extremely well-rounded in all of the goalkeeping attributes that we are after for that sweeper keeper on support, and we did only have to pay £2.4 million for him, which for a keeper of that quality, if we go back to his info page, you can see what he's valued at. That is quite a good deal indeed. We're paying him a very high wage, important player, but does look like a significant upgrade on Serafellini when I did compare the attributes for the role that he does play. He's about 20 to 15 attribute points higher in those key ones for that sweeper keeper on support. So at the end of this upcoming European season, Peter Husavik will be our new first choice goalkeeper here at Volsungur. Serafellini's done a pretty good job for us, but I did feel like that was an area we could definitely improve on in this transfer window, and that is one of those areas I was looking to improve. Covered now, still looking for a right back and probably a player who can play right wing and left wing just a little bit better than someone like Bjarkason as a backup when we do suffer injuries to our wingers, now that we have sold the likes of Samake, Ainscoe, and those types of players. So that's the only transfer that we have made since yesterday's episode, but a big one. He is going to be our starting goalkeeper once we do get tipped out of this European campaign. And to be fair, that could happen today because our opposition are Ajax, 4-star reputation again, so exactly the same as Bayer Leverkusen, who we did take on in yesterday's episode. But Ajax are always a team who have some good young players coming through, and they've still got some pretty familiar names in there as well, the likes of Davy Klaassen, Tagliafico, and Onana at the back. So this is going to be an interesting matchup, certainly winnable for us, but it'll be interesting to see if we can back up our performances from those first 2 legs and make our way through to the final 4 for the Europa League and make it a very interesting start to the week next week to see if we can make our way through to the final. Of course, the other thing that we are going to keep an eye out on across these 2 legs is the other results in the quarterfinals, because we take on the winner in the semi-final if we do get past Ajax of Sporting versus Atalanta. So that is something else we can keep just a little bit of an eye on if we do get in a good position to see who we could potentially be playing in a semi-final next week. But we go into this one with absolutely no injuries or suspensions, so we'll come back soon for the first leg of this Europa League quarter-final from the Laugardas Villa as we take on Ajax. And here are the team sheets for this first leg. We are putting out exactly the same lineup as we put out in the second leg against Bayer Leverkusen yesterday. They did such a good job away from home. We will go with that lineup for this tie against Ajax unless something does happen suspension or injury wise. I do know Ian Carlo in particular on a yellow card. Ajax a good team though. We'll see how we get on here. Probably need a good result from the home league. And 6 minutes gone, we have our first highlight of this first leg of the quarterfinal. A throw-in inside Ajax's final third, trying to ping that one to Zimmerman at the far post. A bit too much depth on it, but we do keep possession. Ian Carlo puts that far post for Larson. His header is just off target, and it does remain 0-0 inside the first 10 minutes. 33 minutes gone, and we've got our next highlight of this one. It's been a pretty quiet first half so far, but both the highlights potentially in our favour. Zimmerman inside the box gets brought down, and it's been blown as a penalty. Now that is a bit surprising. I suspect VAR might overturn this, but we'll just wait and see. And the penalty has been given. That is very surprising. Benjamin Rubio gets the chance here to put us 1-0 up inside the first half. Goalkeeper goes the right way, but too much power from Benjamin Rubio into the bottom right corner, and we are 1-0 up, 10 minutes shy of halftime in the first leg. That would be a decent result to take away. I think we will need a win from this first leg. It might just make it a little bit more comfortable than it was against Bayer Leverkusen yesterday, but we're 1-0 up, just shy of halftime. And that is halftime in the first leg of this Europa League quarterfinal. As you can see by the stats and the XG, obviously that penalty did help, but it was a pretty dominant first half performance from us there, so very happy with how this is going. We are going to make one change at halftime though. Nicholas Zimmerman on a 6.4 has picked up a yellow card. I know he did win us that penalty, but we are going to take him off. Good bench option to come on for him in Patrick Nygaard, and hopefully we can kick on a little bit here and extend our advantage in the second half. And up to the 67-minute mark, no highlights so far in the second half, but still fairly dominant stats-wise, but we are going to bring on Petrovic for Carlo, that yellow card and average rating in mind. 2 subs used, still 1-0 up with just over 20 minutes left of the first leg. And we've gone forward to the 76-minute mark for our first highlight here of the second half. Still 1-0 up, nothing happening so far apart from that substitution in the second half. We were on the attack there, but Andre Onana, what's his name, does get on the end of it. It's a missed header there from Thiago Polo, and it is going to be Dieldabikar who does open the scoring for Ajax. We have been so dominant in this game. That is such a frustrating goal to concede. Thiago Polo, who has been brilliant since we did bring him to the club, but this time just gets a bad error there from him. Misreads the ball forward from Onana, and Klaassen plays that up to Kjaer. 1-1 with just under 15 minutes left, and we are going to make our last substitution there as well. Frederick Larsen down to a red heart. Chaka to come on for him as we search for a goal to take us in the lead inside these last 10 minutes. And up to the 90-minute mark, we've got a late highlight in this one. Ajax were on the attack, but Paulo does tidy things up that time, and we look to launch an attack. I have just made some tactical changes just to see if things will help us out trying to get a winning goal here, but so far hasn't been implemented, so we are still playing our normal style here, although I did think I did go to a higher tempo, but we are on the attack here. Can we grab a goal inside these last few minutes? Lovely ball that from Petrovic. Chaka Traore off the bench stabs that into the bottom left corner. It was a really weak looking shot, but somehow it's found its way past Andre Onana, and we will completely cancel those changes that we were about to make, because that is a big goal finally this season. It is us scoring a late goal and not the opposition, and that is exactly the sort of scoreline we want to take into the away leg. A slight advantage. We haven't been that good at that so far in the knockouts of the Europa League, but this time, nice little stab home there from Chaka on the ball from Petrovic. 2 of our subs linking up, and we do grab a 2-1 lead with only 1 minute left of this first leg, and that is going to be full time. Finally, we get a late goal, as I said, and it is enough for us to pull 2-1 ahead after a few iffy little goals there to start the game off. Still not sure that penalty should have been awarded, and then a mistake from Thiago Polo to give Ajax their goal in the end though. Chaka Traore with that late goal, and that will give us a 1-goal advantage when we do go to the Johan Cruyff Arena in the Netherlands for the second leg. A slight advantage. We'll just go forward a little bit and see what the result was from the first leg of that game between Sporting and Atalanta, because we are keeping an eye out on that one just to see who we might potentially be playing in the semi-finals. And there is the update on the other scores. They do hold a 3-0 lead to Sporting, certainly in a strong position there. Our tie at the moment is easily the one that is the most open, because so far all the home teams, apart from us, have a very comfortable lead. But we'll come back shortly and see if we can finish the job in the away league and make our way through to the Europa League semi-finals. And here are the team sheets for the second leg at the Johan Cruyff Arena. Ajax with a slightly different formation, but the personnel do look very similar. Hopefully we can beat them away as well as at home. We are putting out exactly the same 11 as in the last game, and hopefully we can back up that win from the first leg and make our way through to the semi-finals of the Europa League for the first time. And we do have a highlight immediately from the kickoff in our favour. Hopefully we get a decent chance off here and might be able to extend our lead out to 2 goals. Zimmerman down the right-hand side on the edge of the box, puts the ball in their far post, can't link up with anyone, but Larson is there. Rubio does get a shot off. It is blocked, was going on target, but that is the highlight. Still 1 goal up here early on in the second leg on aggregate.
Yeah.
And up to the 12-minute mark, it's been a while, but we have had to bust out the Mark Richardson. That is because Nicholas Zimmerman has picked up a red injury, so Patrick Nygaard to come on for him early. Still a goal up though. 27 minutes gone now. Ajax on the attack inside the final third here with a throw, and hopefully that injury to Zimmerman does not affect us too much, because we have looked quite good since bringing him into the first team in yesterday's episode. Good chance there for Ajax, but the shot does get blocked, much like that first highlight down the other end, albeit the corner does get shown. Rubio with a clearance. Now, will Frederick Larson get something going on the counter-attack? Not that time, but we do have another highlight right off the back of that. Ajax having to play out from the back. Did look a little bit iffy there for a moment, just pressing them quite nicely here. So they're not making too much progress, but now they do start to, as they look to get the goal here in their home leg, which will see them level things up, but we do control that fairly well. And Sarah Fellaini has some time here to help us play out from the back. To Plisco, out to Alejandro Meza. Frederick Larson on the halfway line. Goffey, Galtason just holding the ball nicely as we try and launch an attack. Thought they might get into interception there, but Frederick Larson is now in possession. Galtason back to Plisco, and we are taking our time in this highlight. Hopefully that means something will come from it. Frederick Larson starts to drive forward here. Back for Alejandro Meza. Nice ball over the top for Rubio. Nice one too. Frederick Larson gets on the end of it. Now, was he onside? That is going to be the big question. It did look, just by naked eye, it might be a little bit too good to be true. And indeed, the goal is disallowed, and it does stay 2-1 on aggregate. Some good play from us there. But that last ball from Rubio Larson just ever so slightly offside, and it remains 1 goal in our favour. And up to the 34-minute mark for our next highlight, very similar to that one that we did have in that last flurry of highlights, with Ajax starting with the ball inside the final third. Kudus gets a shot off. It comes off the upright. That was very close to an equaliser, but still, we're a goal up approaching half-time in the second leg. And up to the 45-minute mark, we do have a late highlight here in the first half. It was a throw-in to us, but Ajax get an interception. Antony gets a shot off just over the bar. That is a little bit of a Gale free card for us there, because that was very sloppy, but we are going to go into halftime still holding our 1 goal advantage. But truth be told, Ajax have definitely looked the more threatening team in most of those highlights that we have seen. We are going to make some changes here at halftime, use up the rest of our substitutions. Don't like having defenders on yellow cards in situations like this. So Petrovic will come on for Carlo and Corbo for Paolo as well. I do think both of those players might be out for our next game because of those yellow cards, but we'll just wait and see what happens for the rest of this game, and hopefully we can hold on here in the second half. Still a goal up after that result in the first leg. And all the way up to the 68-minute mark for our next highlight, we are picking up a lot of yellow cards in this game, so that could be interesting suspension-wise for the next round that we do enter. That's a nice ball there for Larson. I say ball, it came off a slide tackle, but a great chance, unfortunately, comes off the upright, but we are still a goal up inside the last 20 minutes of the second leg. And up to the 75-minute mark now, we are on the attack yet again, so looking a lot more threatening than we were in the first half here, and we do keep possession at the moment, just switching flanks a few times, and Goffey plays out for Mays. A nice ball for Rubio, and he misses the target. Apparently was not offside. It's a goal kick, and we are still a goal up entering the last 15 minutes, and we now have a throw-in, so hopefully we can keep the sustained period of pressure up and maybe extend our lead. That could be massive. With not long left, it does look like Sporting would be our opposition last, and with a chance there, puts it over the bar. Still a goal up with about 10 minutes left. And up to the 83-minute mark, it's a throw-in here for Ajax, but a good interception that from Alejandro Meza. Can we do something somewhat on the counter-attack? Patrick Nygaard off the bench, in behind, he beats Onana at his near post, and could that be the goal that sends us to the Europa League semi-finals for the first time on the counter-attack? It was a really poor throw-in from Ajax. Alejandro Meza with a simple interception, and from there, Patrick Nygaard gets in behind the defence. Caviglia slots him through, and Onana makes absolutely no real attempt at saving that. And we are now 2 goals up with 6 minutes left here of this quarterfinal. And we are in injury time of this quarterfinal. No highlights since that Patrick Nygaard goal, which should give us a 1-0 win away from home. And indeed it does. That is a good performance over 2 legs, picking up 2 wins. That could be quite useful for the coefficient. You can see there on the right hand side, we did pick up a lot of yellow cards. Hopefully it's not going to be too costly for the semi-final at the start of next week. But in the end, after a bit of a rough first half, a very good second half, and we end up beating Ajax 3-1 on aggregate, and we'll make our way through to the semi-finals, probably taking on Sporting of Portugal. But we will just go forward and make sure that is going to be our opposition. They did look like they were in a very comfortable position before against Atalanta after that 3-0 win in the first leg. And indeed that is the case. They also won the second leg. So did Red Bull Salzburg and Liverpool, despite losing the second leg to Julian Brandt's Marseille. Yeah, they're going to be out because they got hammered 5-0 in the first leg. So those are the teams making their way through to the Europa League semi-finals. Us versus Sporting, and Liverpool v RB Salzburg. And we are back in the inbox off the back of that win against Ajax, which does see us reach the final 4 of the Europa League for the start of next week here on the channel. But we are just going to check a few things because, of course, Nicholas Zimmerman did go off with an injury, and we did pick up a few yellow cards as well. So we'll just check the Zimmerman injury first, and he is gone for the rest of the season. Broken ankle, out for 3 to 4 months. So that does mean he is completely out. That's going to test our depth just a little bit at right wing. Of course, Chaka Traore can play out there. He is on the bench for us, and Patrick Nygaard is a pretty good replacement as well. But that's a bit of a blow. Nicholas Zimmerman doing a good job for the most part out on the right wing, since we did bring him into that starting 11 in yesterday's episode, but he is out for the rest of this Europa League season and might even be out for the start of the next European campaign as well. So we will send him to the specialist, and hopefully that gets fixed around the 3-month timeline instead of 4 months. And we make our way up a little bit further, get 1.53 million for that win, playing Sporting in the semi-final, 4-star reputation club again. So we could certainly beat a team like that, I do feel like, and could potentially sneak our way into a final against a team like Liverpool, unless they do get upset by RB Salzburg. But we make our way up a little bit further. We have 2 players out of the first leg of that semi-final, both Thiago Polo and Ian Carlo. We do have decent replacements there in Petrovic and Corbo, though, so I don't think that's going to affect us too negatively, but it certainly won't help us. But hopefully we can get a decent result out of that first leg. If we do go and check that out, the first leg does get played away from home, so that could be quite interesting. Hopefully we can take a decent result from that away leg and build on it in the home league, and hopefully make our way through to our first Europa League final after making the Conference League final a few seasons ago, of course, where Brighton unfortunately beat us. A win in the Europa League would be much more useful, of course, because that would guarantee ourselves a spot in the Champions League for next season. We would not need to worry about qualifying if we did manage to win the final of the Europa League, albeit that is very unlikely because the big team left is Liverpool. Not too sure if we would have much of a chance of beating those guys, but that will do it for today's episode. Of course, signing a new goalkeeper and beating Ajax over 2 legs, making our way through to the Europa League semi-final against Sporting at the start of next week. If you did enjoy this one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this Build a Nation save here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. But until next week for that Europa League semi-final, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.